White people. If crime statistics really mattered to us, we would be talking about white men every damn day. We as white people love to throw around statistics when it comes to the black community. We love to misconstrue data about poverty rates, crime rates, single parent households. Here's the thing, if you really want to talk about problematic behavior in terms of statistics, we need to talk about white men. Most mass shootings in America? White men. School shootings? White men. Intimate partner violence, typically known as domestic violence? White men. Police brutality and systemic violence? White men. Online harassment and extremism? White men. Domestic terrorism? White men. Serial killers? White men. The demographic making up the vast majority of CEOs, judges, senators, and police chiefs who refuse to hold white men responsible? White men. And yet us white men are really talked about as being a problem. Few white people are asking, what's wrong with white men? What's wrong with the culture? Few white men are demanding that we be fixed. And why? Because we as white men humanize and individualize white violent offenders. And it's time to flip the script. To shame and blame, because I know white males are incredibly fragile when it comes to that, but instead to name what's really going on and who continues to be protected and not held accountable because of selective storytelling.
Hello guys. Now today we are going to react to something which is very much unexpected and so much powerful, where a white American is picking up not to blame the immigrants, not to bash black folks, but to hold his own people accountable. He's saying what many blacks have known for so many years. Black Americans aren't the problem. It is the system that white Americans built, protected, and denied. And now that system is what is falling apart. And they are finally realizing this is the truth. They are the ones who need to change, but not the black people. In this clip, he says it loud and very much clear that we as the white people, I quote, are the reason the country is collapsing. We ignored history, we refused to listen, and we pointed fingers at the very people that we've been oppressing for so many years. Now, let's watch these clips, guys, and other clips, then I will be back.
I swear to God, I am so sick of white people. After work today, I went to the store and I'm wearing my hoodie that has my school name across the front of it. Minding my own business, I go shopping, I'm standing in line, and there's a white lady with her son. And she looks at my hoodie and she's like, "Oh, do you work at that school?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm a teacher." And she was like, "I would never let my son go there." And I was like, why not? She goes into this whole big rant about how many stories she's heard about it being dangerous and this and that. And she's like, "Do you feel safe teaching there?" And I said, "Yeah, actually, my kids don't fit the profile." And then I just looked at her son, because what the fuck are you talking about? And then she had the audacity to get mad at me, like I said something wrong. I'm sorry, but you started this shit. If you think you're gonna talk shit and I'm not gonna say anything back, you got the wrong one, because you're not coming for me and my kids. Who you need to be worried about is little Timmy over there, who has the notebook with the hit list and the plan and the blueprint of the school and goes shooting on the weekends with his dad. Fucking white people.
It sucks to be a white American. Now hold on, give me a chance, let me explain. I want you to think of the kind of person who would put on a White Lives Matter sticker on the back of their Ford pickup. Why do they do that? Is it all racism? Well, yeah, but I think it goes a lot deeper than that. White Americans basically have no culture, not in the same way we see other people. And we white people, we know this inherently, and it scares us. We know we have our regional cultures. Our cities, our sports teams, and families all give us our regional culture, but being white basically means nothing, or generally at least nothing positive. White people throughout American history are almost always seen on the side of the oppressors. Not all white people, but most of us. And this sucks to learn. It's even harder to internalize. And it's why white people usually don't accept this, because it makes us feel a deep sense of guilt. I think it's why white people say nonsense like, I can't be racist, I have black friends. Sure, you probably don't see black people as objects, but you're refusing to accept the role our people have had in their oppression. That guilt we feel is our responsibility for the actions of our ancestors. It's why white people refuse to say that black people deserve reparation, because it admits our guilt. But black people deserve reparations. It just makes sense logically. You can sue someone for scratching your car, but black people can't sue the American government for the enslavement of their people. My people are arresting and deporting Mexican families from this country. Think about that. We are telling people that they are not allowed on the land we stole. Let's go a step further. White people stole a sacred land site from the people indigenous to this land and then carved 4 white people's faces on it, most of which were slave owners. I mean, Mount Rushmore is a place that we look at and we're like, oh cool, giant faces. But to other people, it's a giant form of oppression, and admitting that and coming to terms with that sucks. We suck, dude. My people really and truly suck. Not all of us contributed to this oppression, but we are all a part of it. And this will mostly sound like virtue signaling. It will mostly sound like, look at how rough we are. But there is a reality to admitting this guilt and being honest with it, because white people are afraid to do this. And we're afraid to admit it because my people are weak. White people are weak. We have power we have given ourselves and put down the cultures that are stronger than us because we know that we're weak. If white Americans were oppressed the same way black, native, or Mexican American people are, we would crack like glass. Our culture and identity as white people is so meaningless that we do everything in our power to keep other people down so that we don't break from having someone else on top. I think that's why you see white Americans championing white pride, not just out of ignorance or racism, but it's because they are scared. They're scared to come to terms with their guilt, scared to admit they're wrong, and terrified to acknowledge that we may have all the societal, economic, and political power, but as a people we are weak. But this isn't the way it has to be forever. I have hope that one day my people will finally take responsibility for what we have done. I hope that we'll collectively accept our role in the oppression of our non-white brothers and sisters and finally take action. And it will take the action of us white folks. It's not just non-white people that have to fight for their rights. It's us too fighting for them, because our cross to bear is being born white. Being born with the skin color of the oppressors means that we have to fight to be nothing like them. We're not near that right now. America is in a tumultuous stage where it very much does not feel like white people are acknowledging where they went wrong. But I want to have hope, and I refuse to accept that one day justice won't prevail. Collectively, we can all shed the shadow of oppression and share this place together. And that's the message I want to end with. I want to be hopeful that one day oppression will be something taught in history class, something that we don't have to see ourselves in. That's what I hope. Anyway, I want to be optimistic in the end. Anyway, that's it.
I truly hate giving these white supremacists any type of airtime, but this guy here is really getting on my nerves, this Charlie Kirk dude, so I have to give him a clap back for this video he posted.
Black people are allowed to talk about black culture in a way that white culture cannot. For example, black people can go up and say that there's a baby mama problem in black America, and white people are not allowed to say that. Oh, I just did, so what are you gonna do, cancel me? Black people are much easier to be able to say that black individuals, despite being 13% of the American population, commit 55% of the murders. If most white people say that at a job, they would get fired for being a racist. I don't care because I say whatever I want.
Oh, bless your little colonizer heart. You really climbed on the internet and opened your pale mouth and decided to rewrite history in real time like the rest of us haven't been wide awake. The audacity to claim black people have more intellectual freedom while simultaneously gaslighting the entire globe into believing your fragility is under attack. Now that's rich. Irony is so thick, and it might as well pay for reparations. But I'm going to reveal the lie and hypocrisy behind the Olympics that you just won the new gold medalist for. You say black people can talk about black issues, but white people can't. Well, sweetheart, when y'all own CNN, Fox, Time Magazine, Hollywood, Disney, and the banks, and every Ivy League endowment, maybe, just maybe, you can sit out for just one conversation. And while you're pretending to be gagged, your people are in every boardroom, courtroom, war room, media room, pushing propaganda like it's your birthright. If you're so silent, how come the world speaks your language, worships your whiteness, and mimics your mediocrity in music, fashion, and culture? But I'm gonna drop those receipts, the historical Holocaust y'all don't want us to talk about. Let's get into these statistics, since you love to throw out black crime rates around like white folks aren't the original terrorists. Let's talk about genocide. 100+ million indigenous people murdered globally via colonization. And how about slavery? Over 12 million Africans stolen, tortured, sold as properties, built your banks, White House, legacy wealth. And what about these serial killers? Oh, you don't want to talk about that, because statistically, over 76% of serial killers are in the U.S. are white. And how about school shooters? Yeah, those white boys, it's about 90% of them were school shooters, right? Oh, and let's not forget global extinction. Yeah, nearly every animal now endangered or extinct, white-led colonizers hunted for sport, fashion, and science. Yeah. And what about environmental destruction? You bulldozed the whole rainforests of this world, dumped oil in oceans, and then said climate change like it was a mystery. And let's not forget, you poisoned your own Europeans during the bubonic plague because y'all didn't believe in using soap. So before you speak on crime statistics, check the colonial body count. Yeah, I want to talk about this irony though. You all want to parent us now? You want to talk to us and talk down to us? You say black folks need to get their act together? Sir, y'all are the original baby's daddies, raping our women, selling our families, and now you're confused about single mothers? Your wives were sipping tea while your children suckled on the breast of black nannies. Did you forget? That's the origin of your wet nurse economy. You stole our families and then had the nerve to blame us for the fracture. That's like robbing a man and breaking his legs and then calling him lazy for limping. And don't come for our music, our art, and our soul. You manufactured the whole hedonism and handed the record deals to those willing to sell their souls for the culture you corrupted. Yeah, you say our rappers don't challenge the rot? You own the labels, genius. But I'm going to connect those dots from the plantation to the Pentagon, baby. See, it wasn't just slavery. It was the war on drugs, the FBI's COINTELPRO, the Tuskegee experiment, redlining, predatory loans, prison labor, Black Wall Street bombings, and forced sterilization. Oh, did you forget that? You all orchestrated the problem, blamed the victim, and then handed out Band-Aids and made that BS, okay? Even your DEI talking points are laughable. White women are the primary beneficiaries of affirmative actions. Did you hear that right? You parade black faces for photo shoots, the poster child, while your HR departments remain whiter than sour cream. We see it. But here's the uncomfortable truth, sweetie. We are the blueprint, not the afterthought. We are not just black. We are the descendants of the tribe of Judah, the royal priesthood you've tried to erase. And you know this, which is why your scientists study our DNA, your historians bury our truth, and your politicians silences our speech. You envy our melanin, our rhythm, our brilliance. So you commodify, crucify, and then cosplay it on TikTok. But guess what? You can't colonize the spirit, baby. Here's the inevitable reckoning truth, and the truth don't die, it rises. So here we are, sifting through your smoke screens, unearthing your stolen stories, and refusing to play nice with lies. You're not silenced, so stop it. You're sobered. And that sobering truth is this. You can't cancel us when we are the original signal, the source of the frequency, the soil from which God made humanity. You call us victims, but we are the verdict, and the jury is back. Your father is the father of all lies, but our father, he is the truth that exposes every single one. I need you to kindly exit stage left because your time on the mic is up.
Did you know that white people in the United States have 10 times the wealth of black people? Black people have been locked out of opportunities to build wealth in the United States. Now, a lot of people think this is because black people have not had access to home ownership. However, this is not true. Black people have long had access to home ownership, yet the racial wealth gap has only increased. The rates of black home ownership in the United States doubled between 1940 and 1970. Black people even had access to federally subsidized mortgages in the aftermath of the Second World War. Despite increasing numbers of black homeowners, the racial wealth gap has only increased. Why is this the case? The reason for this is that as black people have moved into and bought homes in neighborhoods, white people have left these neighborhoods, and then the city, state, and federal governments have stopped investing in these neighborhoods in ways that would allow them to flourish. Whereas white neighborhoods receive great schools and good amenities, black neighborhoods have primarily received investments in the form of policing and prisons. The decision to send police officers to black communities instead of investing in schools, community centers, drug treatment, and violence prevention means that home values in those neighborhoods have stagnated. Since homes in black neighborhoods have not increased in value as rapidly as homes in white neighborhoods, homeownership for black people has not helped to close the wealth gap. The solution to the racial wealth gap lies not solely in increasing access to homeownership for black people, but in investing in black communities in ways that allow these communities to flourish.
White people attempting to rebrand white rage by co-opting the term black fatigue as though it's a phenomenon they actually experience but only recently found the language to talk about is both dystopianly weird and tragically on brand. The copying, the whitewashing, the centering themselves by playing victim. But what's ironically telling about it is that the concept of racial battle fatigue is not new. It's been around for decades, and the term black fatigue has been used by black people for quite a while. Mary Frances Winters wrote a book that came out in 2020 titled Black Fatigue, and it describes the mental, emotional, and physical exhaustion that black people experience because of systemic racism. Now, notice how black people didn't call that white fatigue, because the purpose is not to assign blame in order to justify bad behavior. It is called black fatigue because it is a harm that black people experience, and so their focus is on addressing and combating that harm. Whereas when white people talk about experiencing black fatigue, they are not talking about a harm that they experience because of black people or anybody else. They are literally telling on their own inability to live in society with black people. And that's not new either. That's a pathology that has existed for hundreds of years, but call it what it is, white rage.
White people have always prioritized pets over black people. Not as a joke, as policy, as culture, as strategy. You ever seen a white woman weep for a rescue dog, but not blink at a black child shot in the back? That's not a quirk. That's colonial memory at work. That's whiteness distributing empathy based on control. They loved the dog because it obeyed, because it didn't talk back, because it couldn't remind them of the horror behind the house. But black people were never allowed to be innocent. They were property, then threat, and the dog got more compassion than the enslaved. Dogs got names, graves, paintings. Black people got numbers, chains, and unmarked soil. White feelings will organize a march for a dolphin, but stay silent during genocide. When Amy Cooper clutched her dog and called the cops on a black man, that wasn't a mistake. That was a ritual. The pet in her hand, the cop on the line, that's the structure. That's whiteness in full performance. Protect the pet, punish black people. It's not about loving animals. It's about refusing to love what they can't control. The pet becomes sacred. The black body becomes target. That's not empathy. That's empire. We remember what they erased. And we're not asking for tears. We're here to haunt. Follow for more. And most importantly, cope.
For decades, white Americans blame black folks for crime, poverty, and division without ever acknowledging the same policies and systems that caused them. We must understand that black Americans are not lazy as you people indicate. They are not as dangerous as you people say, or even divisive. It is that they are so resilient. It is the white Americans who break the system, then go ahead and blame the black people for their own mess. On the other hand, the media and politicians convince poor white Americans that it's the black people who are taking their jobs, when the truth is, black folks were fighting for survival in a system designed to keep them down. Whites got mad at reparations, but never got mad at how they benefited from slavery, land theft, and exclusion. They fear equality because they are afraid to lose their privileges that the system gives them. Black Americans have been the moral compass of Americans from civil rights to culture. They have always fought for justice, even when they got nothing from it or in return. It is not black Americans that are destroying America. It is the white Americans who are destroying America. It is their refusal to accept the truth, share power, and to grow together with other Americans, which are the black Americans. Therefore, what we must tell you, the white Americans, is that America doesn't need white saviors. It needs white truth tellers, white allies, and white co-liberators. Don't just pat yourself at the back for not being racist. Be anti-racist. Teach your kids challenges your co-workers. Call out injustice when there is nothing to gain in return. If white America wants healing, they must be willing to break the very, very system or structure that protected them. Because justice is not about comfort. It's about balance. And for quite too long, the scale have tilted one way. So don't just admit the truth. Act on it. Be part of it. Live on it. Pay forward what was stolen by your own people. Only then can America truly rise. Not as a country for some people, but as a home for all the Americans. So guys, thank you so much, and let's meet in my next video. This is Afri Vlog Updates.